Now then, so today we've got DAF LF reported with soot filter full, and we're going to have a look at this one. The soot filter, as you'll see on the dash, is coming up as saying it's full. So are we just going to bang it on a regen? No, are we fuck? Because 99% of the time it's something causing it to prematurely fill up or not complete a regeneration. There are obviously exceptions to that, you know, stuff that's like it runs PTO most of the time, like the yard shunters, or it doesn't do long trips, local delivery, and it can't carry out a regen. So we need to see if we've got faults we've got stored in here which are preventing it to do a regen. And when it finally loads up, so there's many a different thing that can cause it. And you can see there, look, differential pressure, sensor is high. We've got a load of other faults in there, but we're going to ignore them because we're looking for the most. And I know from experience what will be causing premature or blocking of the soot filter and not letting it carry it out the regeneration process. So we'll flick through these. You see there was one there for the exhaust manifold before turbine pressure. So we'll do a little test. So we'll get the measurements up on the gel test. I can finally work the fucking thing. So we've got our exhaust back pressure reading there. So that's on tick over 2.6-ish bar. But on revving it, it's not going down very much. So when you rev it, it should drop down to about 1.2 bar. And then when you let off the throttle, exhaust brake, etc. close, it'll build up. So there's the pipe. I've done a video about this before. So take the plug off. Now these plugs have a little tab on, so you can't pull them straight off. So make sure you pull that tab back before taking the plug off, because if you don't, you'll fuck the plug. To get the sensor out itself, I just use a 27mm socket. Crack it off, wind it out, as we do here, and I'll pull the sensor out, and it's already looking, well, not looking good, is it, with all that shit on the end of it. So to test the pipes blocked, there's no easier way than literally get some brake cleaner, and then we'll squirt some brake cleaner down the hole. And obviously it should drain away, and it's not draining away, but if you zoom in here, you'll see there's small air bubbles coming up, and that's what will be causing the pressure to go up, but it's not going down because it can't escape. So I need to change the pipe, which is quite straightforward. I'll also clean the the EGR pressure galleries out, and I'll show you how to do that later on. So all we've got to do is take this off, and I'll show you how I do it without disturbing any other pipes, hopefully. So get a pair of side cuts and snip it right near the collar. Don't try and put a spanner on just yet, because it'll just bend, and because they're soft as shite, them unions. So make a snip and pull the pipe until it snaps, and then quarter snap on 12mm socket, just get it tapped on. It will go on, and then obviously some extensions, quarter ratchet, and then we're just working it. It will crack off, and because using a socket, it doesn't deform the fucking union. So work it on and off, plenty of motion lotion, freeing oil, on and off, on and off. And then once it's cracked off, you can set that off and we'll get a spanner. Now you can see, look, I'm hardly having to do any work there with a spanner. It's free, and you're not having to disturb that cooling pipe or anything else around it, because DAFs are notorious for rotting. They look like they've been sat next to the fucking Titanic. So just work that out, and then say it's a piece of piss if you do it that way. So next, I've just sharpened the rivet up. You can use a fucking paper clip or whatever, and just make sure the actual hole's clear in the manifold. Very rarely these actually block up, but I always stick some in just to make sure we're all good. So we'll get the pipe fitted, and to fit the pipe, there's a few little tips I can give you, and then hopefully it'll make it easy for you. So what I do is start the bolt at that side, but put the union in, but don't try and start the union. Put the bolt holding the other end finger tight, and then get a bar and just push down slightly on the union while you tighten it with your fingers a little bit, and then put your spanner on, and you should be able to get it in no problem. Now the threads do pull on these, so you're not always blessed with great threads, so that's the easiest way to do it. And like I say, you're not disturbing this. Look how crusty that is. You want to be taking off as least as possible when you're doing these. So we'll get that banged on. Now I have already stripped the EGR because I'm a fucking idiot and forgot to show you what I was doing. So I've took the EGR valve off and EGR pressure switch. Now there's a gallery in there. You see the AGR, I've just left it there. Now these block up as well, so if one's blocked, generally these will be blocked. Now excuse the DeWalt drill because that's not mine. Bit of handbrake cable, or fucking, this is gear linkage cable, put it in a drill look and you can do it nicely down that galley. That's the only one that ever blocks up, and it saves you trying to take the back bolts out to clear it. You see all the sludge that's come up. I put a bit of brake cleaner out to check how blocked it was, and that's why it's like fucking shit. But we'll just clean that out, we'll scrape it up, bang it back together. So let's go back in, let's measure that pressure sensor again. So back in, let's measure the exhaust manifold back pressure. So there we are, look, tick over, then rev it, tick over, rev. It does shoot up here, but about 1.2 bar, look, that's when it's revving. That's what you should be getting when you let off. It should be going up nicely. So that's probably what's prevented it, or what's prematurely sutted up the exhaust. Obviously manifold pressure is a massive thing, especially when you've got EGR, etc. So look out for this, don't just regen it. Look out for these sort of faults, because regening it won't cure it. Well, it will cure it short term, but it will definitely come back in with the same fault. So I'll take it for a run, give it on, we'll have to get it nice and warm, because obviously the next part is we're now going to carry out a regen. So we've got it all warm, and now we're just carrying out force regen. Get a little pretty picture on, see where our differential pressure switch is, reading about 40 odd millibar, which is obviously high, and hopefully give it 45 minutes, an hour or so, we should have dropped back to zero and we'll be good to go again.